Hello everyone, welcome to the Tech and Auto Show. I'm your host Manav Sinha, and it is so good to see all of you lovely people once again at this show which satisfies your hunger for port technology as well as automobiles at one place. Now just like every time, this time as well there's a lot of action that we've lined up for you guys. So let's kick the show off by showing you a glimpse of what you can expect in the next half an hour. First up, we will be taking a look at the Redmi Note 8 Pro, which might be the phone that you have been waiting for all this while. Then we will be getting our hands on a music player in the modern day and age, and also continue the action from last week from Milan Auto Expo. So there you have it, all of that action is coming your way, and yes, the lovely Range Rover Sport is giving us company today for this episode, but we're going to kick things off from the world of technology. Now in the 20,000 rupee smartphone price bracket, well, it can get often confusing as to which is the best phone you can buy, and Redmi is adding to that confusion, but perhaps clearing that confusion with their latest phone, which is called the Note 8 Pro, which might be the best offering that you can get your hands on. Well, to find that out, Kunal is sharing his review up next.
The Redmi Note series has been an important ingredient when it comes to Xiaomi's success in India. Earlier this year, we saw the Redmi Note 7 series, which focused on performance and providing a good camera experience. And now in quick succession, we have an upgrade. So now, let's take a look at the all-new Redmi Note 8 Pro. Launched about 9 months after the Redmi Note 7 Pro, the new Note 8 Pro is definitely a major upgrade, at least on paper. There might be subtle changes in terms of design, but it definitely feels way more premium than ever, almost like the OnePlus 6T, which launched more than double the price of what you pay for the Note 8 Pro. So what exactly is new here? Well, for starters, you now get 4 cameras at the back, a slightly bigger battery, and a tiny bit of more screen real estate. What is debatable is the use of a MediaTek processor, but I'll get back to that later. First, let's check out the design. Now you still get a glass finish, but the back is more rounded than the flat finish on the predecessor. It is definitely very slippery, but that gamma green color gives the phone a very unique personality. It is once again a very clever play of light bouncing off the glass, where you get either a pitch black or the sea green color finish. The glass finish and the big battery does make it really heavy at 200 grams. And since it is glossy, it does slip out of your hands very easily. The frame in the middle is solid metal. And at the front there is a 6.5-inch display protected with Gorilla Glass 5. The water drop notch at the top is now less rounded. And even the chin has shaved off a few millimeters or two. Xiaomi has also put 2 removable trays this time. So you can now use 2 SIM cards and expand the memory at the same time. You still get a USB Type-C port, a headphone jack, and an infrared port on the top. The camera system at the back is placed vertically in the center, and the camera module does add a noticeable bump to the phone. Notably, the module includes only 3 cameras and the fingerprint scanner, with the 4th camera placed outside the module with the LED flash. Now the display still comes with 1080p resolution, but now it is brighter, offering 500 nits at peak along with HDR. It actually looks like a really good display for an IPS LCD panel and feels like the one we saw on the Nokia 7.2. It offers deep blacks and natural color reproduction, especially when you're watching HDR content. Now Xiaomi has chosen the new MediaTek Helio G90T processor for the Note 8 Pro. Well, this is still an octa-core processor just like the Snapdragon 675, but the cores are clocked higher. Also, the handset comes with up to 8 gigs of RAM. Also, the storage is now UFS 2.1 standard, so that's again a bump in overall speeds. The chipset is said to offer improved gaming performance, and while it will let you play PUBG Mobile at highest settings possible, it does get hot after a 20-minute gaming session. The performance is as good as the Redmi K20, and we've heard that Xiaomi is planning to launch a Snapdragon 730G version of the phone, which could address some of the heating issues while gaming. Now the handset comes with Android 9.0 based on MIUI 10. Of course, this will get MIUI 11 very soon. It is snappy, smooth and responsive, but like most Redmi phones, it comes with preloaded apps, some of which keeps sending unwanted notifications, which is very annoying. One unique feature on the phone though is that you get two AI assistants, Alexa and Google Assistant. This is thanks to dual wake-up word support by the processor. The cameras are a big update this time. Xiaomi is using a 64 megapixel primary camera paired to an 8 megapixel sensor with an ultra wide lens, 2 megapixel that can shoot macro photos, and another 2 megapixel camera dedicated for depth and bokeh effects. At the front you also get an upgrade to a 20 megapixel sensor for your selfies. The camera app is pretty much the same as most Xiaomi phones. You have a dedicated toggle to switch between the main and the wide angle camera. There is also the option of 2x digital zoom and various other controls including macro camera, AI optimizations, HDR and so on. Now quality wise the camera performance is pretty good as pictures taken in daylight look sharp with good amount of details. Like most multi-camera systems on smartphones today, there is a wide angle camera but overall details are not as good as the main camera. The high resolution 64 megapixel photos which you can take from the main sensor obviously crams in a lot of details and is good enough for cropping purposes. The camera does struggle in low light conditions, but in certain situations I found that the camera is capable to capture some good details provided you use the primary camera. But there is a dedicated night mode as well to capture more light and details at night. Even the front camera can shoot decent looking shots and offers a good portrait mode as well. All in all, the camera performance is quite capable considering the price of the handset. Like I mentioned, the battery is bigger this time, rated at 4500 mAh. Xiaomi is known for offering good battery life and this one is not an exception. I was expecting even better performance since it's a bigger battery, but the handset will last you all day without any issues. I use the Note 8 Pro all day with a mix of texting, taking some pictures and a bit of gaming, with the battery still having about 40 to 45% battery left. Now the handset comes with 18-watt fast charge and Xiaomi bundles the same in the box. This helps in charging the battery to up to 60% in 1 hour. So yeah, it is going to take a little bit to fully charge the device. The Note 7 Pro was definitely a huge update to the Redmi Note lineup, and that puts a lot of pressure on the Redmi Note 8 Pro. Despite that, it is a significant update in my opinion. Display is definitely improved, camera performance sees a big jump, even the battery size has been increased. Performance wise, there is a big improvement since the MediaTek G90T processor can easily offer enough juice for your gaming needs as well as everyday tasks. In fact, the processor is as good as a Snapdragon 730, although it does put a lot of load on the battery. As a whole package then, the Note 8 Pro is a no-brainer for its price and a really good successor to the Note 7 Pro.
So do you remember the good old days when we used to have a dedicated music player to have our music experiences? Well, I certainly do. But these days, smartphones have taken that place as we listen to music from our smartphones. But as a result, music players in this day and age have really adapted to the modern times as well. They offer really high quality music experience and are loaded with all the features you can imagine too. Now, one such music player landed in the hands of Shavik, who's telling you more about it up next.
The HiBy R3 is a diminutive high-resolution music player, but don't let the looks fool you. Gone are the days when music players were assigned to play MP3 files by the bulk. What you now get with the R3 is a wirelessly connected high-fidelity music player that can read files from microSD cards as well as connect to Wi-Fi networks to stream from online high-res service Tidal. You can also read ebooks on it and connect wireless headsets too. Inside, the R3 features an ESS DSE and a DSD256 capable audio controller. It is high-res audio certified and the interface includes a multi-channel audio tuner that lets you adjust aspects such as audio temperature, bass intensity, response times, overtones and more. The certifications include LDAC, DLNA and aptX, which means you can stream wireless hi-fi audio even if you don't own a pair of Bluetooth 5 headphones. For the user, the R3 offers a pleasant interface which is also uncluttered. The small screen has surprisingly fast touch response, but this isn't very accurate and you do end up missing a few taps. The R3 features a 3-part display with all settings and menus to the left, the list of songs and artists in the middle, and the music player to the right. Each of these can be accessed by swiping either way. These have further subsections from which you can access other features such as the PDF reader, title, the 8-way equalizer, and so on. Most settings are well represented on the screen, and you won't be spending too much time trying to make sense of a cluttered interface, as is the case with many budget audio players. Interestingly, the slide-out menus from the top and bottom are copied directly from iOS, but no complaints here about their functionality. Coming to audio playback, the HiBy R3 quotes signal noise ratio of 107 decibels and total harmonic distortion of less than 0.002%, which fits the basic ethos of a device that is serious about its audio credentials. What makes this player notable is that you can actually hear the difference between a 256 kbps AAC plus file and a high-resolution FLAC file. Making things better is the balanced 2.5mm audio port, which lets you plug in standard audiophile earphones too. We use the R3 with a Wizzer Kylin AHE03, a commendable pair of earphones. For reference, our everyday music experience came from a Samsung Galaxy S9 Plus and the Wizzer, which gave a fairly decent ground for comparison. Through this, we could clearly hear the audio fidelity difference between the smartphone's audio and the R3's. Track textures are richer, with more details and in-track elements, fine notes and reverbs sound clearer, and there's more microcontrol on the sound. The R3 also does really well to keep the sound true to its source or play according to what the on-screen EQ shows. To sum up, the HiBy R3 is a great starter product for your audiophile ambitions. It even comes with a USB-C port and brilliant battery life as well. At Rs 15,999 on Headphone Zone, the HiBy R3 makes for an excellent player if you're interested in good sound but don't wish to spend a lot.
Now, the Bonneville series of motorcycles by Triumph Motorcycles are known for offering the best mix of retro and modern technology between two wheels. And the Triumph Speed Twin is perhaps the best iteration of that motorcycle that has come out till date. That is what I found out when I got my hands on the motorcycle, as you can see in the review up next. Now, what if I told you that there is a 1200cc motorcycle that costs less than 10 lakh rupees, has the punch for your weekend hooliganism, but in the weekdays can take you to work too? Well, meet the Triumph Speed Twin. I've been riding it for the past few days and I believe that this is exactly that motorcycle. Let's start with the design, and as you can see, it is very minimal, as is the case with most retro-looking motorcycles. But it is when you look closer is that you notice the great build and finish quality on the Speed Twin, especially the brushed aluminium finish on the fenders. Speaking of which, they are quite compact both front and back. Adding to the retro charm, it is the twin rear shock setup instead of a monoshock, which makes it look old school. And same is the case with the twin upswept exhausts. The modern bit comes from the all LED lighting setup, which looks nice too, especially the daytime running lights inside the headlamp cluster, which have some detailing as well. And of course, it gets the bar and mirrors, which look absolutely fantastic, but when it comes to the real world usage, they can feel rather limited due to their positioning and size. Add to that the flat seat and 17-inch wheels front and back with a simple fuel tank design, and you have a motorcycle that looks classy and grows on you over time. Then the instrument cluster is a mix of digital and analog readouts, telling you pretty much everything there is to know while keeping things simple. But what's really surprising is just how well everything is packed together, which makes the motorcycle look and feel compact. Now that we're done talking about the design, I really have to sum it up by saying that this is a rather understated motorcycle. It really gels well and does not scream that, look at me, I'm a leader class motorcycle, and I really like that. But what is the best thing about this motorcycle is this very engine. If you want performance from it, it will give you loads of it. But in case you don't, kick it into 6th gear at 60 kilometers an hour, and from there on, you can simply cruise on it. What Triumph Motorcycles did was that they took the chassis from the much sportier Thruxton R and tweaked it to suit the updated ergonomics, while fitting in the same engine in the exact same state of tune. As a result, what you have is a motorcycle that only marginally loses out on performance, but more than makes up for it with relaxed riding ergonomics, making it a lot more practical and useful in several riding scenarios. This engine makes 97 horsepower and 112 Nm of torque, which is delivered in a very linear and progressive fashion, and the engine is frankly one of the most refined units that you can buy in this price. If you really had to nitpick though, there are some vibrations in the foot pegs, but that's nothing you would mind. Triumph has also given a wider handlebar on the Speed Twin, which makes you reach out for it only slightly, but gives great leverage for maneuvering through city traffic. On the highway though, you would face wind bursts at high speeds, and I wish there was some kind of a wind protection on offer. What I didn't wish for was the grip from the tires, because there is just so much of it on offer. The Speed Twin wears the Diablo Rosso 3s, which allows for great grip even when leaned over. Then comes the brakes, which have great feedback and bite. No complaints in that department. Yes, the front suspension is not adjustable and the ones at the back can only be set for preload, but I never really felt the need to tinker around as I found the setup to be just fine for both city and highway. When it comes to electronics, the Speed Twin gets ABS that is always on, switchable traction control, and ride-by-wire which allows for 3 self-descriptive riding modes: rain, road and sport. Again, how it all comes together in a friendly, punchy and extremely refined manner is a great achievement by Triumph. We mostly rode the Triumph Speed Twin in possibly the worst scenarios we could offer it, which was monsoon in Delhi, as it had traffic and water and whatnot. But the Speed Twin not once felt out of place or uncomfortable, and that's rarely the case with a motorcycle that houses a 1200cc motor. Yes, it gets warm, but then again, nothing uncomfortable. In short, the Speed Twin never leaves you asking for more unless you want a machine that is extreme at say off-roading or racetracks. So to sum up the Triumph Speed Twin, well, at 9.46 lakh rupees ex-showroom, it is beyond belief that you're getting so much motorcycle for that amount of money. It sits between the Triumph T120 and the Thruxton R, but honestly, it offers the best of both worlds when it comes to riding ergonomics as well as performance. So if you're looking for a motorcycle that does pretty much of everything and can be ridden every day as well, then you can look at the Triumph Speed Twin. Welcome back. You're watching the Tech and Auto Show and I'm your host Manav Sinha. Now last week we brought you a special episode all the way from Milan in Italy, which was called the EICMA Special. Now EICMA is the biggest two-wheeler expo that happens all year round, and that is where all major motorcycle makers come out with their new launches for the year. This time, it was a bit more special as next year new emission norms are coming in, which means there were a host of motorcycles that we had to talk about. And of course, we couldn't cover them all in the last episode. And as a result, there are a couple of more motorcycles that we want to showcase to you. One of them is the Indian Challenger. Now, Indian motorcycles are known for making cruisers, but what happens when you add a touch of dynamism on that motorcycle? What you get is this.
Now, who says cruisers have to be boring? At the EICMA 2019, Indian motorcycles have revealed their all-new motorcycle, this massive cruiser on which I am sitting, the Challenger. The Challenger is the newest motorcycle from the stable of the American touring motorcycle manufacturer, the Indian Motorcycles. After unveiling the motorcycle in the US, Indian displayed the touring bike at the EICMA 2019, marking its global debut. The Indian Challenger gets the traditional touring motorcycle styling synonymous with the American motorcycles, which means it is big with a lot of chrome and shiny paint job. However, unlike most of the previous bikes from the brand, the Indian Challenger is more aggressive and has an all-new front fairing mounted to the chassis. There are 2 storage areas inside the fairing and there's a power adjustable windscreen. In fact, the headlight configuration gets an interesting design with one central round light and LEDs on either side. The Indian Challenger reminds you of the Harley-Davidson Road Glide, and so does its own Chieftain line, as the Challenger borrows some of the design elements from the Chieftain like the instrument screen, saddlebags, front fender and ride command system, which is now faster and gives weather and traffic overlay information. The bike has a wheelbase of 65.7 inches, seat height of 26.5 inches and a dry weight of 365 kg. Features wise, the Challenger will get high-tech audio system, ride-by-wire technology and 3 riding modes. Talking about the engine, the Challenger gets an all-new 1.8 litre power plus V-twin engine that produces 122 HP and 174 Nm of torque. The engine is a 6-speed belt drive manual gearbox. There's a whole new cast aluminium chassis using the engine as the load-bearing component. The prices of the Indian Challenger starts at $21,999, which roughly translates to Rs 16 lakh in the Indian currency without taxes. There will be 3 variants of the Challenger with cosmetic differences between the 3. Whether or not all the 3 variants come to India will be a thing to see.
Now, having ridden so many motorcycles over the years, most of which were powered by an internal combustion engine, the moment you tell me about an electric motorcycle, well, there's a particular idea that comes to my mind, a perception that I have of these motorcycles, and I believe that might be the case with you as well. But one particular motorcycle at this EICMA Motor Show pretty much takes all of those perceptions, throws it out of the window, and gives you a fresh look at what an electric motorcycle can be. Take a look. Now, no auto expo in this day and age is complete without electric vehicles. And when we talk about electric vehicles, well, Kymco has definitely got it right, as they've come out with this pretty looking motorcycle.
And what an exciting motorcycle this is. I mean, look at it. It's called the Kymco Revonex and it is expected to be launched as a production model in the year 2021. And since battery technology, charging time of the battery and the range that the battery would be capable of delivering will probably change by then, Kymco hasn't really spoken about that department right now. But what we do know is that Revonex will come with a 6-speed transmission to make sure they keep the rewarding feeling of shifting gears alive in their electric vehicles too. The Revonex will be capable of going from 0 to 100 km an hour in 3.9 seconds and will do a 100 to 200 km per hour dash in 8.7 seconds. It gets some top of the line hardware too, as it comes with Metzeler Racetech RR tires, Brembo brakes and Olin suspension, and will also offer electronic rider aids like traction control, ABS and rear wheel lift mitigation. The engine, or the motor in this case, will also offer an acoustic experience unlike any other motorcycle at the time of the launch. And it will also offer 4 riding modes to choose from. On top of all this, you also have a fantastic color TFT instrument cluster. So all in all, while there are still some things that we don't know about the motorcycle as of now, it is definitely set to be an exciting machine once it gets launched globally in 2021.
And with that, we've come to the end of this edition of the Tech and Auto Show. How did you find the show? Is there anything you have to say, anything you want us to cover, or you simply want to have a conversation? Well, hit us up on Twitter, we are more than happy to talk. If it's about technology, reach out to us at News18 Tech. If it's about automobiles, tweet out to us at News18 Auto. And remember, by logging on to news18.com, you can read up more on the news and reviews from both the industries as well as our feature on this lovely Range Rover Sport. Well, that's about all for today. I'll catch you same time next week, only on CNN News 18.